Okay, hi everyone. So I want to show you how to create the arms of this clock. So two things I want to show you before I do that. I know that a lot of you like to put appearances in on this, so you want to put the wood in. So I've shown some of you appearances. If you go to organic, then you find wood, right? And then you can find all of these little ballies and you can drag one of these across. All right, so don't drop it onto a face, just drop it inside and that'll color the whole thing. Now, I'd prefer it if you didn't do that. It just makes it difficult to see what's going on. I'll show you in class how to actually lighten that. So that if you really desperately want to do that, I'll show you how to do it so that it also pleases me. A better way to do it, which I'm quite happy for you to do, is to select the object. In the context menu, you see under appearances, here you will get different levels. So from the most basic, from face to the boss, which is a feature, to the body, to the whole object. Under the whole object, you'll see a little symbol on the right. Click on that. In the properties bar, you'll get a whole lot of commands. Now you just scroll it down a little bit and you can see all of the colors available. So you can either select one of these, that'll turn it green, or you can move this item up and down and get it to the color you want it to be. Okay, so let's say I want it to be this sort of slightly gray-green color. The other thing you can do, which I ask you to do, is to go to the illumination button, scroll down to the bottom. I'll show you what the rest of this does later. And then just on this luminous intensity, get this to be a whole lot brighter so that it's easy for me to see what's going on with your design, which makes my life easier and therefore I'm more favorable to you. That's the way it works. All right, so now the other thing I want to show you is that in your design tree, you should have as clean a tree as possible. So one item for the feature, one for the cut extrude, one for chamfer. So if I edit this, you'll see that all of the chamfers are in one command. I mean, unless your chamfers differ, but even then, there is a way of doing it all in one command. So all of my fillets are in one command. So I don't have multiple fillets or multiple chamfers. I have just one, and one pin, 1 minute, and 1 hour. That's enough to actually do this entire design. What I haven't shown you in class is that if you want to, you can shuffle things around inside here. We don't want to shuffle them for now, but the way to hide some of the commands is to wait for the sand to appear at the bottom and just drag this up. That hides those two features. Another way to do that easier way is to go to the feature that you want to roll back to and then click on the rollback in the context menu. So I want to place a sketch on the front plane. I'm going to click in the front plane. In the context menu, go to sketch, zoom out a bit and find some empty space. So I'm not going to put the sketch anywhere near my geometry because then the snaps are going to activate and make my life more difficult. So let's start with the sketch. I'm going to use the S key, choose the circle command, click, let go, drag, and before I click again, I'm going to put in a diameter of 8. Simple as that. All right, and if you want to change it, you can double click it and you can change it. Next one is S key again. I want this one. Let's just go back to the S key. So this normally defaults to corner rectangle. And if I go back in the drop down on the right, wherever these little arrows are, that's a drop down. Get the 3-point rectangle. That's because I want to aim this rectangle at an angle deliberately because I don't want any relations established. So I'm going to click, let go. Oh goodness, that's done the wrong one. Oh, that's given me a cent. Chose the wrong one, that one there. So click, drag, click, drag. Okay, so completely contextless rectangle, which means I can, I double clicked on that and exited the sketch. So I can now I can squeeze this a bit if I want and I can move it around. Next command is the circle again. Now there are better ways of doing this, but I'm just showing you the easiest way for now. So I'm going to wait for my mouse to snap to the center of that line, let go, and then I'm going to wait for it to snap to that end there and wait for it to show me both of these here. So it should be coincident and tangent. If it doesn't, don't stress too much. If it just shows, it's not going to do it now, but if it just shows coincident, I'll show you how to fix that later. Right, so something I did not show you in class is the reason that I chose the center line was to connect this circle to that circle, and then to leave that center line alone. So I'm going to select the center line using the S key. I'm going to wait for that symbol to appear, which is this one here, concentric. So that means center of the circle. And then I'm going to get this to snap to the center of the other circle. And then I'm going to hit escape. This means that this shape can now move around and the circles stay connected. Okay, so that was the point of what I did in class. Watch what happens when I try and move the circle around. It's going to squeeze the whole thing. So until I've properly defined this sketch using relations, this rectangle is not linked to that one nor to that line. So the best way to do it, I mean, what I showed you in class was that you selected one item, held the control button down, selected another, and then you put in a parallel item. A better way to do it, a quicker way, is to select all three. So I'm going to drag select from bottom left to top right. So now I have three items selected. You can see in the properties bar. And then in the properties bar as well, you can also select symmetric, or you can go back. I'm going to use the control button to get my context menu to appear, and then you can say make symmetric. That's actually better than what I showed you in class, because now, no matter what I do, all three lines are linked to one another using the symmetric. You can see if I hover over one, three of them light up. So if I try and move this item now, the only thing that's not linked is these two shapes at the top to the circle at the bottom. But I can't get it to deform in any other way. All right, now the next trick is to trim all of these entities. So you can find the trim entities command up here. Or if you want to use the right key, the context menu, right click, and then you go to sketch tools, and right near the bottom, let's just do that higher up so you can see what's going on, sketch tools, and you'll see here trim entities. There's this little scissors. Okay, so power trim is the one you want to activate, and the way that power trim works is, let's zoom in. You click in free space and you start dragging, and then whatever lines that you cross over get deleted. And if you make a mistake, you can go back up over this little red line. It's a little bit tricky, and you can keep going and unactivate it. Okay, so it's probably easier just to Control Z. So I'm going to let that go, zoom out. The command is still activated, so I can do the same at the bottom here. Let's go like this. I'm avoiding the center line because I want to keep this intact. I'm hitting the escape button so that if I now try and move this item, these two circles are linked via their centers using that item. The next thing to do is to put in a sketch fillet. So using the S key, sketch fillet, and then I just need to click on the vertex and the vertex, and then you'll see, I don't know if you can see that my mouse button, oh, it's not showing it, but you can see my mouse button shows that if I right click, I will actually confirm that this is what I want. It's not what I want, so I'm going to double click inside here and change this to 2 or 3 or something. There are other ways of doing it, by the way. So let's say you had actually left it at 10 and you'd exited this. So in this case, I need to click again, right click and say OK. Let's say that was 10. It's very easy, double click in here and say, let's say that was 10. Right, so double click and give it a dimension that you want. Let's make it 3. So far so good. So we've got 2 dimensions. We want to dimension this fully as far as its size goes. So I'm going to activate the dimension command, right click, and I'm going to go here, to Smart Dimension, click on the line, let go, click on the next line, let go, drag this out to where you can see it, and then you can enter the dimension you want. So I want it to be 4. I don't need to dimension the circle because it should be linked, but I guarantee you it's only got one tangency. So we need 2 tangencies. So if I click inside the sketch, you'll see there's one tangency, there isn't one over there. So if you select that vertex, you'll now get in the context menu a tangency, make tangent item. Often doesn't say anything in here, but if you click in again, you'll see it's got two tangencies. If that weren't there, that would mean I can actually move this around. Let's just see. Can't. No. Right, so this is actually fixed. But sometimes what happens is it means you can actually get one of these arms to grow, and that'll deform the circle. So let me just put that back in. Make tangent. Right, so our sketch is almost ready to go. I need one more dimension. All of these are size dimensions. They're controlling the size of the item. Currently, I can get this to get shorter or longer. And I want to control that bit, so I'm going to right-click, Smart Dimension, select this line. Oops, right, so it actually selected 2 items. Not sure why it's doing that. Let's do that again. Smart Dimension, this line, drag it out, and round that off. Love rounded off the dimensions. Okay, so this sketch is now fully dimensioned as far as its size goes, but it's not fully defined because it hasn't turned black. And I need 2 items to control its position. One is what is the angle, and 2 is where is it located relative to the origin. So let's put the angle in. So once again, right click, Smart Dimension. I'm going to click on this line again, and then before you click outside, get your mouse to hover over this vertex at the bottom, click on it when it goes orange. 4 arms will appear. Select the pointy uppy one and then drag this dimension out, and then when you click again you can specify what it is you want. So I'm going to say 40 degrees. So what this means is if I click on this dimension, there should be a little round bobble on one end which will allow me to move this around. So I've got 1 degree of control as far as the angle goes. I just need one other connection, and that's to get the whole sketch to connect from that point to the origin. So I'm going to hover over, let's zoom in a bit. I'm going to hover over the center. You should see this sign. Oh, it's not doing it. You should see that little sign which says X. Click on that, let go. Get to this next one, hold the control button down, wait till that one lights up. All right, and then in the context menu, I'm going to make concentric. Watch what happens. The sketch now snaps to that point, and now I have control over the sketch in every direction. So I can control where it is, like this. Okay, so that's the way you're going to control where this item points to. I'm not going to tell you what degree it should be, but in fact, you need 2 precise degrees for each configuration. And remember, you've got to have 2 configurations, one showing 220 and the other one 1025, or something like that. I can't remember. So that's basically the sketch. I will briefly show you here how to extrude this. So I select the sketch, or inside your tree, S key. I've exited the sketch, by the way. And then we're going to say extrude boss. And instead of extruding from the sketch plane, I'm going to go from offset and then give it an appropriate amount. So try 40. Let's see what happens. Okay, 40 is too high, you can see. So I'm just going to scroll down. 30, 20. Yeah, let's say 20. And then for the direction, I'm going to go in that direction by 5. So that I've reduced the size of it. That's how you do it. And then the next thing is, the last thing is you can select the sketch, copy it, Control C, go back to the front plane, paste it, Control V. You'll see a new sketch has been placed in here. Edit the sketch. Let's go normal 2. To get this sketch to relocate back into the center, you just find the center, drag it out, drag it back onto the center so it turns black, and then we can change these. So I'm going to quickly change these. I'm not going to spend too much time. I'm going to make this into the hour arms. I'm going to make it fatter. There we go. Okay, so that's that done. Which means if I now extrude that one in the same way as before, we're going to offset, say by 35. I think that should work. 35, enter, and it's a bit much, 30. Okay, let's make this wrong. I'll show you how to fix it. And let's make this a bit thinner. Cool, and that's as far as you need to go. Right, so any one of these now is fully controllable inside the geometry. You don't have to go back into the sketch. What I need to do here is, because I want to lower the height, just find this blue dimension, wait till this symbol appears. Let me see if I can get it. No, it's not showing it. Wait till the little dimension symbol appears. Drag this out so that you can see what you're doing. And then you can use either the little bubble or you can double click and just move that item in a bit. Round it off, of course, by snapping. Okay, so snap to 30, say. That's how you do it. And then if you click on this item, you can also use the bubble here to move your arm wherever you want it to be. That is very, very, very neat, if you ask me. So full control of your model from outside once you've got all the dimensions in place. Practice nicely, and I'll see you later. Cheers.